Now, this game wasn't pretty, but sometimes you got to get an ugly win. But we're back in business and in the win column, so things aren't that bad, right?
Coach, Coop, Coach, Coop, Coach, Coop, the Coach Coop Show. Coach, Coop, Coach, Coop, Coach, Coop, the Coach Coop Show. The Coach Coop Show. The Coach Coop Show. The Coach Coop Show.
What's going on, Canes fans? I gotta say that winning feels a heck of a lot better than losing. As you guys already know, Miami getting the dub this afternoon, 31-19. And for this react video, we're continuing the trend from Friday night stream back to business, and we did. We're back in business, and we got the win. So this is just going to be a quick initial reaction video to the game. It happened about 30 minutes ago. We're going to talk about some positives, some negatives, look at some stats, and just overall impressions from the game. And I mentioned this in Friday night stream, but for all the younger people watching the video that maybe don't know how to tie a tie yet, or those of you that have forgotten how to tie a tie, a little tip from Coach Coop: if you go buy one of these new sets, what you want to do, I want to zoom the camera in here, you just leave this little cardboard piece right here around the tie, and you don't even have to tie it. And the best part is, for the most part, nobody will even notice. I bet you didn't even notice. Leave a comment down below and let me know if you did. Don't lie. So let's talk about some positives. First off, well, we won. We talked all week about how this Canes team typically tends to hang their heads and pout after losing, and typically that results in, at the very least, another loss, if not 2 or 3 losses after that first initial loss. I know I'm throwing L's out there left and right, but it is what it is. We passed the mental test this week, and we bounced back after getting demolished last week. Miami's defense held Pitt to just 2 field goals in the first half of this ball game. And what's even crazier about that is the fact that Pitt was able to drive the ball inside the 5-yard line twice. And again, Miami held them to just field goals. That's huge. And even though Miami's offense did struggle heavily in this game, they were able to take advantage of good field position. Twice in this ball game, Miami started drives on Pitt's 34-yard line. Guess what? They equaled touchdowns. In the third quarter, Miami's offense started to drive on Pitt's 38-yard line. Guess what? Scored a touchdown. Typically, as Miami fans, we know that doesn't happen for us. We don't seem to capitalize on these things. And in this game, for the most part, we did. And I know that Pitt doesn't have a good run game. You know that Pitt doesn't have a good run game. Pitt fans know that Pitt doesn't have a good run game. But it was good to see Miami holding their offense to just 26 yards rushing on 22 carries. That forced the freshman quarterback Joey Yellen to throw, and it ensured that we kept Pitt one-dimensional. We had just 5 penalties for 55 yards, which is a huge improvement considering that just last week against Clemson, we had 15 penalties. And if I'm not mistaken, the week before, well, we had the bye week. The week before against FSU, we had 8 penalties. So yes, 5 is definitely an improvement. And my man Louis Headley was the MVP, in my opinion, and you can't tell me otherwise. He averaged 51.7 yards per punt in this game, with 2 of them going over 60 yards. I always preach on this channel, never underestimate the power of special teams and having the ability to pin your opponent deep, because that can absolutely change the outcome of a game. And another positive is that we are 5-0 with our predictions here on the Coach Coop YouTube channel, and this one was pretty darn close. I actually nailed the Miami score at 31 points and was just 5 points off on the Pitt score. Now, again, I don't like being 5-0 as far as I predicted the Clemson loss. I wish that I would have been wrong on that one, but it's part of this building credibility on my channel, trying to give accurate and realistic score predictions on the game, so you guys can be like, well, wait a minute, maybe Coop does know a little bit, at least sometimes, what he's talking about, and he's got some pretty solid predictions on these games. So let's see if we can keep that trend going. So obviously there are more positives that you can pull, but let's take a look at some of the negatives. What went wrong for us in this game? And I think you already know what I'm going to start with. Our wide receivers still did not step up. We knew coming into this game that Pitt was going to challenge them to win those one-on-one battles. And as far as I'm concerned, they failed the test. Absolutely flunked. A big fat F. They had some opportunities to win the deep ball, and they just couldn't get the job done. D. Wiggins, you're the tallest wide receiver in this group. Use that size to your advantage. I know that you can be better than that. And it's super frustrating because this is every single week. And I expect Virginia to attack us in a similar way because they see that our wide receivers are a weakness on this offense. And our third down offense was absolutely terrible, to say the least. We started the game 1 for 8 on third downs, with 7 of those third downs being 9 yards to go or longer. Rhett Lashley has to find a way to be more efficient on first and second down so we can end up in some more manageable third down situations. And listen, don't get me wrong. I'm a huge D'Eriq King fan and I want him to be successful, and I believe that he is the right guy for the job at this point in time for the program. But he finished with just a pinch over a 50% completion percentage. Several batted balls and tipped balls, if I'm not mistaken, and 2 picks. So he's got to step up. I understand people always make the height argument and with the offensive line, and does that play a part? It absolutely does. It's hard to throw a slant successfully when some of your offensive linemen are 6 and 7 inches taller than you. So it is absolutely tough. But it's really starting to show, I think, now that we're getting into a little bit tougher competition. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, the list could go on and on for both the positives and the negatives, but I try to keep these videos under 10 or 15 minutes, and I think I'm getting pretty close to that. So what I'd like to do is continue the conversation down in the comment section below. Leave your positives, negatives, ones that I didn't mention, and let's just continue to discuss the game. And even if you want to talk potentially about some of the upcoming Virginia stuff, that's okay too. But the way I like to wrap these videos up is by taking a look at some quick stats from the game. We'll just kind of blow through this real quick. So let's head over to ESPN.com and take a look. We're going to focus, of course, on Miami because I'm sure most of the Pitt fans have disappeared at this point after taking the L. So first downs in this game total for Miami, 21. Third down efficiency improved a little bit in the fourth quarter, but again, it started out really rough, and 4 of 13 is still not very good. Let's just be honest. 331 total yards of offense in this game, 222 of that being passing, 109 rushing. 5 penalties for 55 yards, as we previously discussed. That's a pretty big improvement. Pitt had double that. And the 2 turnovers, which were the 2 picks from D'Eriq King. Now, let's also take a look at the box score, some more specific stats for players. Don't think that I'm favoring any particular player over another. We're just kind of blowing through these. So, D'Eriq King, 16 of 31 for 222 yards. 4 touchdown passes doesn't sound too bad, but those 2 picks, I know specifically one of them that set Pitt up with very good field position. I think the other one might have also. What's interesting is, once again, I'm pretty sure that D'Eriq King has been leading most of our games in rushing yards, with maybe the UAB game in Louisville being an exception where Cameron had huge games. But 11 carries for 32 yards. Jalen Knighton, 7 carries for 25. Again, we just really couldn't get the run game going. I'm so hype on Cameron Harris. I think he's a good back, loves contact, picks up a lot of yards after the contact, but 12 carries for 24 yards? That's tough, man. When we play these bigger opponents, obviously, like it showed against Clemson, that just ain't going to cut it. Chaney had a couple of runs, 5 for 18 yards. Burns, 4 for 15. Receiving once again. A tight end leads us in receiving yards. And it's not even to say that I'm upset with that. I mean, we have good tight ends. Brevin Jordan was injured in this game, so he didn't play. But 2 receptions for 51 yards and 2 touchdowns to Will Mallory. It just shows me, though, once again, that these receivers need to step up. With this type of offense, we should be spreading the ball around to all of these guys. Harley had 2 receptions for 47 yards. Pope with 5 for 46. So he was a little more active, so that's good to see. Cameron Harris, 1 reception for 35. Knighton, 5 receptions for 27. And Keyshawn had 1 for 16. My man Wiggins, where you at, bro? I know we targeted you multiple times, and I hate to just keep poking and prodding and calling one particular guy out. But again, he could be great, but he's got to be more physical. He's got to use that size to his advantage. And let's see you up towards the top of this board next week, man. Let's get it. Defensively, Gervin Hall, total tackles, led the team. We did pull up some sacks, correct? Yeah, we did have 3 sacks in this game. Nothing too crazy on defense that I can really talk about. I don't think that Borregales has missed a kick. Correct me if I'm wrong. Mr. Automatic as a Miami Hurricane. I'm pretty sure he's nailed all of his field goals and extra points. It just, that sounds crazy saying it out loud. Coming from a Miami Hurricanes fan, right? Somewhere where we've struggled for so long. And we already talked about Lou Headley. MVP for the game, in my opinion. Guys, we've got to look ahead. We've got Virginia next week. Right now, at the time of filming this video, Virginia is 1-2, and they're tied up 20-20 against Wake Forest. So I don't know what their final record is going to be before we face them next week. But we're going to take on Virginia. Then we're going to have a bye week. I know it's scary to say it before we travel to NC State. But like I said, let's continue the conversation down in the comment section below. I'm keeping this one short, sweet, simple, and to the point. But it feels good to be in the win column once again, right? Winning always tastes a heck of a lot better than losing. So 31-19 victory over Pitt. We did what we had to do to get the win. It just wasn't pretty. So remember though, guys, we're all one big happy college football family. But at the end of the day, I got to say, it's always better when you get to rep the U. Coach Coop, peace out.